Guys, welcome back to, as you might have guessed, part 5 of this series, guys. We've been going strong, dog, strong. And I appreciate all those who've been riding with me, who's been commenting, who's been active, who's just been there. I appreciate you guys. Shouts out goes to you guys. Y'all get all the shouts in the world. Appreciate it. But guys, mainly, man, we finna go ahead and get this thing started and rolling, man. This is part 5 of this atrocious video. If you noticed, my opinion on this video has consistently changed the deeper I get into this motherfucker, right? Don't get me wrong. I still stand by what I say. I still respect Invaders as an individual, of course, as a person, as a creator. I still respect that. However, again, the thing, like I said, that I can't respect is I can't respect the pushing of ideas that are blatantly false. That's what I can't respect. And this video it gets an A plus in that. It gets an A plus for that, because it's up there, dog. It's up there, dog. So, but anyway, guys, once again, I appreciate all those who have came in, who viewed, who've watched the previous content, and watched all of the other 4 parts to this, leading up to this. Excuse me. It's been a hell of a journey, and this journey gonna keep going, guys. We're far from done. I'm realistically about halfway through the original video, and again, as we all know, I'm very long-winded. I do like to talk, but for the support that I've been getting from all the views and all the comments, I don't think that you all seem as though the hour thing is too bad. So I'm going to try to cut it down if I can, but as I said before in the previous videos, it's going to be difficult to, just because I'm just going to be touching on so many different things. I'm going to be pulling from so many different stuff and trying to get you guys the meat and potatoes of everything. You know what I'm saying? So that's where that's going to come from. But I'm very excited to go ahead and keep going into this and diving even further, deeper into the rabbit hole, if you will, to try to figure out what's actually going on. Because, again, I'm hoping at the end there's some twist or something that he just says, I'm just bullshitting. Like, I really hope that. But the way these videos being presented, I think this motherfucker believes every word that he's saying. Whether coping with the fact that the story was not that good at the end. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool. Like I said before, it's cool to say that. It's okay to say, you know what, this story just didn't make sense. It was just, parts of it just didn't make sense. It was just kind of ridiculous. It's not a bad thing to admit that, you know. But again, I know a lot of people, and I said this before and I'll say it again, I know a lot of people put a lot of time, effort, and energy into reading all the mangas. You know what I mean? I get that. I totally understand that. However, it is okay to say that something that you loved turned out to not be so great towards the end. It's perfectly fine. It's not. You're not gonna be shamed for that. You know. So that's all I'm saying. But we're gonna get into it, guys. We're gonna get into part 5. Just to give a real quick synopsis or a recap. Basically, my last video ended where it was the main big thing in conversation was that he was saying that Eren didn't plan to be stopped. That's what he was saying. And clear as day, once again, even in the past video, I literally pointed it out in chapter 139, in literally like the first couple of panels. Armin asked him, did you plan to push us away so that you can prop us up to be the heroes? And he said, that's right. That sounds like a motherfucking plan. And then the timeline also makes it to where it was definitely a plan, because the conversation that he had with Armin technically happened on the boat when they were heading to meet up with him. You know what I'm saying? So it was a plan. It was a fucking plan. So you guys can say what you want to say. He can try to use all this mystic, Naruto, ninjutsu and genjutsu shit on y'all, but I ain't falling for it. The dude planned all his stuff out. He planned for them to be the heroes. He planned to take the fall. He planned for them to defeat him. Because in reality, as I said, he had the founding titan ability. He could have easily took that shit away. He wasn't gonna do that based off of his reasoning and his reasoning for freedom. So of course he wasn't gonna do that, which was fine. But he wasn't gonna kill them because those are his friends. So yes, my thing is he planned for it. I mean, it's clear as day he planned for it. So now I think where the video left off, he was referencing time and how the way the timeline was kind of shown or whatever, he didn't know he would be stopped until he obtained the founding titan ability or some shit like that. Whatever. And that doesn't even make sense. I refuted that shit too. So everything that he's saying in here, I've already cut up. I've already sliced that motherfucker up. So everything this dude is saying, anytime, and I'll say this as well again, guys, anytime y'all have some friends or something who references this type of talk that's in this video, y'all just show them my videos, show them my shit. Tell them, hey man, when you have time, you have a good portion of your day. I know my parts are long, but if you got some time throughout the day, check these videos out. And I guarantee you, this is gonna shut that shit up. It's gonna shut all that shit down. All that random bullshit that people want to try to throw at you, all the random philosophy crap that wasn't even mentioned in the story, that people are trying to add within the story to try to make it make sense. This is gonna shut that shit down. You ask these simple questions and you do these simple rebuttals that I'm doing, it's gonna shut that shit down. All that stuff is gonna be shut down immediately. So again, guys, I'm telling you, when I said it before, we've been on a ride, dog. We've been on a ride. And we're gonna keep going. So without further ado, guys, we're going to jump straight into it. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this video, guys. Again, I told you guys I'm trying to grow this channel. It's definitely not just going to be based off of Attack on Titan. I just have a very big passion for Attack on Titan. I'm definitely going to have other videos in here, as you can see through the library. If you look through the list of videos, I have other things in here, gaming things, real life topics of videos and things of that nature. But this is just something I felt as though I wanted to kind of work on. Again, I went ahead and gave shout out to Brown's Magic, also Sainted Chief, and Odin. Those three have really kind of inspired me mentally and pushed me to want to create this content as well. So that's why I'm doing it. So shouts out to them. But yeah, we're going to get into it, guys. We're going to go ahead and start part 5. And we're going to pick up right where we left off, where he's talking about time, apparently. So let's fucking see where this goes, y'all. Let's see where this goes.
Explaining why that is requires getting into a bit more philosophy, so please bear with me. The reason that the future is inevitable is not because it is fated by supernatural forces, but because it is a direct product of the past. There is only one timeline, and any changes that will be made to that timeline have already been reflected in the predetermined future. When one looks into the future, they are not seeing a single possible future, but rather the only possible future. To put it simply, the universe of AOT is a deterministic one. The philosophy of determinism claims that all events in the universe are determined by pre-existing causes, including moral choices. This means that there's a cause and effect relation between all events in the universe. It also means that human free will doesn't actually exist. The universe of AOT operates on this principle. And
see, and this is why, and this is, we're already stopping it now. I'm not even 2 minutes in. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This is unnecessary, guys. This is unnecessary. You add all of these different philosophies and gyroscopes and all of this different stuff so that it can try to make sense to you. Guys, the story is very fucking simple, dog. It is a simple story that does not involve all of this. Again, there are nuances to the story and different things like that. Yes, we agree with that. We agree that the story presents itself in a situation to where, it's not just black and white and that there's really no right or wrong way about different things. Sometimes you're going to have to make certain choices that's going to affect other things and stuff like that. And it's about learning. It's about the experiences that you learn on that road. You know what I mean? So we get that. We get the whole concept of that. You know what I'm saying? But you guys are trying to add deterministic philosophies and timeline theories and this and blah 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 blah. Guys, y'all can stop with that, man. You can stop with that shit, dog. The story basically within itself, with strip all of that stuff away. The story is clear, simply about a boy who wanted and sought for freedom, who felt like he himself was cattle, if you will, stuck behind the walls, not doing anything, bored, just being like, God damn, what the hell is this? What is happening? You know what I'm saying? Trying to give people on their P's and Q's. Wanted to join the Scouts because the Scouts were the front line of, exploration. They were the ones to explore. Mind you, all this he's being told since he was born that all that you see in these little island, in these little 3 sections, these 3 walls here, that's all that's left of humanity. This is it. Nobody else. This is it. Just this. This is all he's being told. And then all of a sudden, to have his world get crushed, have his mother eaten in front of him by these different Titans. Now he has a driving factor to want to destroy the Titans. Joins the cadets, want to move on, still wants to join the Scouts, while also again on that road learning different things. Learning that sometimes it's best to act on your own than to put stock into everybody else. Because if he would have more than likely, just to point out a scene, if he would have more than likely turned into a Titan when Annie was there, Levi's squad maybe would have still been alive. Levi's squad would have still been alive and he would have been able to save them. So it's just one of those things to where we know that this is the main story. It's very simplistic in that situation. Then for him to figure out that it wasn't the Titans that are doing this, it was people. Then him infiltrating Marley, learning their ways, seeing that they are just the same as us, but they just have this built up hatred from something that happened 2,000 years ago. These folks, all of these different things affected his decision. So you're adding all these different tablets and different philosophies and different quotes and stuff. Man, just take the story for what it is and look at the fact that, okay, this shit just didn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Just accept it.
This also applies to Eren and his actions. As I talked about before, Eren is someone whose actions are controlled by his own inherent nature. By extension, the reason that the rumbling is inevitable is because it is a product of Eren's nature. Because Eren's nature was that of a person who wanted freedom, because the outside world's existence conflicted with that desire, and because he had the means to act on that desire, there was no possibility that Eren chose not to destroy the world.
There was a... This dude is getting crazy. This video is getting wild, dog. Like, this is getting wild. Like, this is just getting just bolder and bolder with bullshit.
Eren's past and the circumstances of the world had ensured that this was the only possible future, Again, Eren is in no way compelled by supernatural forces like fate or destiny to take these actions. If Eren did not dream of freedom, and if he did not want to destroy the world, he would not have seen memories of the rumbling in the first place. But because of who Eren was, this had always been the one and only possible future. If that future were able to be changed, then he never would have seen it to begin with. Because there was only one timeline, the fact that he had seen this future meant that he would inevitably follow that timeline and take this path.
And this is why that's a lie too, because it really wasn't. It's not one timeline, because that right there, in my opinion, that little timeline theory, it wasn't just one timeline. Because if you're gonna tell me there's only one timeline, then how did Mikasa see an entire memory of them running away together? How did she see that, and how did we see that as well? That was another alternative thing that would have happened, to where if he hadn't, we saw that. We saw the timeline of what happened, because they explained it. The timeline itself explained that, hey, if we just ran away together. They lived their life. He lived his little last 4 years out of whatever he had. He didn't do no rumbling, no nothing. But all Paradise was doing was kept fighting. It was constantly at war. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm not mistaken, they even said that historian was looking for them and shit like that. Like, not that she was like a bad person looking for them, but she was looking at where they went. They went off the grid. You know what I'm saying? Started living off the land, went off the grid. Shit like that. So we saw that. So you mean to tell me that didn't happen? That wasn't part of a timeline? That wasn't a presented timeline from the writer himself, saying that this is what would have happened if they would have just left? Come on, man. Come on, dog. Like, I'm just saying, like, there are things in this book you're omitting that you're not saying. Again, you're painting the picture that there is only one timeline. So you're like, okay, there's only one timeline. Because again, for you to say that it was only one timeline, it makes sense to say, okay, if there's only one timeline, then there's only one inevitable outcome. And that's why he dreamed of the rumbling, because that was the only thing that was going to happen, was the rumbling. And then that goes back to his inherent nature of just wanting to kill people. No, bro. It doesn't. Again, the genjutsu, that's not going to work on me, dog. That shit ain't going to work on us, bro. That genjutsu crap don't work. Sorry, bro. Release, motherfucker. That shit don't work, bro. I'm just telling you, it don't work. There's too many points in the book or in the story that goes against your argument. It's just too many of them. It's too many of them, dog. Too many, bro. Sorry to disappoint you. Because he could have very well easily chose not to do it. He felt that that's why he tried multiple reasons and different ways to not do it. Again, if he was this killer of a person, inherently, as you say, he would have killed everybody on sight, man. He would not have made friends. He wouldn't have tried to go over there to talk with Reiner and to do all this dip. He wouldn't have done all that. It would have been straight on sight. I'm killing all y'all motherfuckers. I don't give a fuck. That's what I'm saying. It's silly. These are silly arguments. That aren't backed up by any facts at all. You had to add the philosophy of a deterministic future in order to fit your narrative. Stop adding shit. Stop grabbing shit from outside the source material. Stop. I'm working off the source material. You give me the book, I read the book, I make my arguments and my adjustments and my whatever, my statements based off of that book you gave me. I'm not being like, well, you know what? this book says this, but let me go grab this book, volume 13 here, because this is no, nobody's doing that but y'all. And what I mean by y'all, I'm talking about a lot of people who defending the ending. Also known as ending defenders. You all love to grab outside philosophies to try to make the story make sense. It doesn't make sense, y'all. It just doesn't make sense. Sorry. Let's go.
But make no mistake, this is the future that would have happened, even if no one had witnessed it. Eren, or anyone else for that matter, could not get around the deterministic nature of the universe by simply not observing the future. In a deterministic universe, even if the future isn't seen, it does not mean that multiple outcomes are possible. No matter what, the future is created by the past, and there is only one future, even if no one knows what that future will be. Eren seeing the future did not lock that future into place, nor did Eren seeing it change that future. If someone in a deterministic universe sees the future and tries to change it, their failure to change that future is already set in stone. The fact that they witnessed it means that their future self also at the same point in time saw the future. It also means that if their future self tried to change it, they failed. Since there's only one timeline, and the future is a product of the past, their past self is determined to follow that same path of failure. Whether it's because they lack the means to change that...
What is this guy talking about, guys? Alright, let's read this. Let's read this. Here you go. Let's read what he's saying. Alright, so my picture is in the way, but I'm going to read it for y'all. So it says, to help visualize what I'm describing, let's pretend that Sasha has the power to see the future. Obviously, she doesn't. Just pretend she does. In this hypothetical, Sasha we know she doesn't. You don't have to do this. Sasha sees the future on Monday and sees that the world will be destroyed on Wednesday. She wants to prevent that from happening. Because there is only one timeline, Sasha is doomed to follow the same path of failure that her future self also took. You may wonder, if Sasha has seen the future, can't she learn the mistakes that future Sasha made and correct them? However, that's impossible. Future Sasha also saw the future on Monday, but even with that knowledge, still failed. The point here is that there is only one timeline in the future. You're not making any sense, bro. You're not making any sense, dog. You're not making any sense. The reason is because, see, you have to again, you have to take the deterministic future philosophy to add it to Attack on Titan. In any sense of the word, was that even mentioned in the story? Let's just talk about the story. Was determinism and all of that stuff that you just said, was that ever mentioned in the story, or are you assuming again? Are you just making stuff up again? Because my money is on that you making stuff up again, just to fit your narrative. That's what it seems like to me. Once again, we're doing it again. Can we just not focus on just the story and take points from the story to say, okay, all right, I can agree with that? You can't do that. You just can't do that. You should not have, in order for a story to be good, you should not have to take outside sources to add to the source material for it to make sense. I shouldn't have to do that. Because if the story is good, the story would have conveyed the message itself. The story would have conveyed that message. Based off of what we saw, based off of what we read, we can kind of infer that there are multiple timelines. We can kind of infer that just based off of what we saw and what we read. We can kind of infer that there are multiple different timelines. Right? But in order for your theory to make sense, you have to say Well, no, it's only one timeline. So since it's only one timeline, that future was inevitable to happen. So since it was inevitable to happen, there's nothing that Eren could have done differently that would have changed it. Because it was going to happen anyway. Nobody else got that. But this has to be the way that you have to do it in order for it to make sense. That's silly, man. That's sad that you have to do that. That's very sad.
Or in Eren's case, because they wanted that future. The future will not be changed. This is also why Grisha ultimately gave Eren the attackontitan, despite asking Zeke to stop him. There's only one timeline, and it was the one in which Grisha was eaten by Eren. As a result, Grisha was guaranteed to follow that same path of giving his titan to Eren. The reason why he chose to do so is heavily debated, but why he did so is irrelevant to the simple fact that he did.
No, you're skipping over that. You're skipping over that. Don't skip over it. Don't skip over it. Because here's what I think the reason why he gave him this. The reason why he gave Eren the attackontitan is because Eren didn't show him all the memories. Because Eren picked and chose, as Zeke so amply pointed out. Eren picked and chose what memories to show Grisha. We clearly got that. We can infer that from the conversation that Grisha had. Saying, why won't you show me everything? So he more than likely only showed him bits and pieces of whatever it was in order for him to get that. That's what he did. That's what we can kind of put two and two together. We know 2 + 2 is 4. We can kind of put that together to see that. Because that's what it seems like that happened. But he's going to say it's irrelevant.
In Eren's case, the future can't be changed because it is the future that Eren wants, and he can't help himself from wanting it. He cannot take steps to prevent that future, as he lacks the will to do so. Were Eren not someone with the innate desire to want that future, and without the means to make it happen, he would not have seen that future to begin with. The realization about the universe being deterministic has grave implications regarding the existence of free will. As we discussed, in a deterministic universe, only one future is possible. This means that any...
But how, again, and I'm pausing it here, again, how do you know that the Attack on Titan universe is a deterministic one? You just put that on there. There is no evidence to show that is a deterministic universe. You're saying that once again to push your narrative. Stop adding things and to try to make it fact. Like you're speaking as though it's facts. Like, oh, it's a deterministic universe. AOT is a deterministic universe. Where did you hear that from? Where'd you get that from? Where was that even stated in the anime or in the manga? That it was a deterministic universe. And that it was only one inevitable outcome. Huh? Where was that at? Show me that.
Choices people make are predetermined, as the future cannot change. The decisions they make will be the ones that lead to the predetermined future. To an ordinary person who cannot see the future, it will still appear to themselves as if the choices they make can change the future. Since they don't know what future their choices will lead to, it will seem to them as if they have the free will to make whatever decisions they want, and that their choices can lead to many different outcomes. But that is not the case for someone who has witnessed the future. If someone witnesses the future in a deterministic universe, their illusion of free will is broken. But why? Let's use Eren as an example. Eren has witnessed the future that will be a result of his own choices. What he saw is what he will choose to do in the future. Had he not witnessed the future, it would have seemed to him as if he had free will in his decision whether or not to activate the rumbling. But now that he had seen the future, he knew what he would choose. Even if this is what he wanted, he became aware that he never had free will in what choice to make. This leads to a paradox related to free will known as Newcomb's paradox.
Here we go. This man is putting in all this paradoxical literature and all this stuff. just so this junk can make sense, bro. Like, this is sad. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, that's where I'm at, guys. This is sad. This is sad that somebody will go this far to actually try to cope with simple things just not making sense in a story. Simple situations just not making sense in a story. You know what I'm saying? Simple questions that we have that cannot be answered in the story. But it's all good though, right? It's all good though. He just makes this stuff up. Come on, y'all.
More specifically, a subsection of Newcomb's paradox related to retrocausality. In a world with perfect predictors, people who have seen the future and can make predictions about it with 100% accuracy, retrocausality can occur. If a person truly knows the future and that knowledge affects their actions, then events in the future will be causing effects in the past. The chooser's choice will have already caused the predictor's action. Some have concluded that if perfect predictors can exist, there can be no free will and choosers will do whatever they're fated to do. Eren knows with 100% accuracy what choices he will make in the future. That is to say that Eren himself has become a perfect predictor. That raises the question, where did his idea to do the rumbling originate from? Did it originate from himself? Or did he only make that choice because seeing the future put the idea into his head? That is what lies at the heart of the perfect predictor paradox. Regardless, it is possible that perfect predictions can align with what the predictor actively desires. And in Eren's case, as someone who saw the future that he saw it, that applies to him. For Eren, the origination of his choices is irrelevant. These are the decisions that he would have made, whether he had known he would make them or not. I'd like to share a quote from Twitter user LLuck, who I think summed this up perfectly. Eren knowing what he would do in the future doesn't end up mattering to him during his actions post-timeskip. What he sees in the future is exactly what he would do even if he hadn't seen it, because this future is based on himself. He is pushed by himself and keeps moving forward because that future is what he wants and what he would do. He shows resolute determination to all of his actions because all the steps that he saw in front of himself are the ones that he would take. It was Eren who wanted this future to come into existence, and it was his will that brought it into existence. But ironically, as a result of knowing the future, his illusion of freedom to deviate from that future was taken away. He became acutely aware that all of his choices had been made before he had ever made them. Eren knew that what he was doing and what he wanted was wrong. He tried to see if the future could change. There was no supernatural force stopping him from telling other people about what he had seen and asking his friends to help him prevent that future. But of course, because the future he saw was the one he wanted deep down, he could not muster up the will to change it, nor could he take steps to change it. In truth, even Eren's doubt, guilt, and meager attempts to change the future were all predetermined. Because of the very nature of the universe and the circumstances of the world, their future could have never been anything else in the first place. And this inevitability, this realization of the predetermination of his own actions and the lack of his own freedom on every level, is what led to Eren's change in demeanor and jaded attitude. To summarize, the future memories are a philosophical commentary on the nature of free will. As some people mistakenly assumed, this does not mean that the universe of AOT is controlled by some higher power, destiny, or fate. Rather, the future is created by the past, and the universe is deterministic. Or Eren not someone who sought...
I'll let this guy speak, man. Guys, this is a bunch of mumbo jumbo, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. This is a bunch of mumbo jumbo, man. This is a bunch of mumbo jumbo, man. Because the reason, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell you why I'm simply just not addressing this portion. Because this portion has absolutely really nothing to do with the core story at hand. We already knew that Eren saw the rumbling. We already knew that he saw some crazy shit, right? We already knew that. So we knew that that's what it was. We also knew that he showed steps and he did things to try to change that, to try to change it. Right? So he wanted to do different things to try to change it. Right? To try to see, should I do this? Should I even be doing this? Because to be honest with you, he didn't have to activate the rumbling at all. He didn't. He didn't. But for him to not have reactivated it would have, again, left, as he said prior to, would have left Paradise's fate up to chance, which is the reality of it. You know, very simple, guys. I'm not talking about philosophies and like I said, and ancient scrolls and tablets, dog. I'm just saying basically what the story presented to us. The reason he fought so hard to try to stop to do the rumbling and didn't really want to do the rumbling is because of the simple fact that he did not want to have to kill all of these people. He knew it was wrong. Absolutely he knew it was wrong. But out of necessity to save the island, it was a choice that he was going to have to make. That's why he tried to find alternative ways of not doing it in general. That's why he begged Hanji to find another way. That's why he went to the summit to try to see this. We just saw the picture of him walking out. We tried to see if somebody was going to speak up for Paradise on their behalf, which they did. That's why he went over there and left after that summit. He stayed over there for that long amount of time. He stayed over there looking at the people, listening to the people, seeing different ways in which he could do stuff and figuring this stuff out. And was like, man, I don't want to do all of this. I don't want to do this. You know what I'm saying? I hate that I'm doing this. I hate that. He did all that. He tried to stop from doing all of that. Right? But it had absolutely nothing to do with no deterministic philosophies and all that stuff. It was because of the simple fact, as he said, I don't really have a choice in this matter if I want to save my friends and my family. Because these motherfuckers clearly hate us. They clearly hate us. There's nothing we can do about it. They clearly hate us. It wasn't the Titans that were the original issue. It was the people. And the people were the reason why the Titans were over here to begin with. Right? So they're the root cause of the problem. So if I go ahead and eliminate them, I can at least ensure that the island will be safe. I can at least ensure that the island will be okay. That's what that boils down to, man. It doesn't boil down to anything else than that. Like, you're trying to overcomplicate a simplistic reasoning as to why he did what he did. It was a very simple reasoning. Either we die or they die. That's it. Nothing more. Nothing else crazy about that. Very simple. Either we die or they die. That's it. Nothing else to it. But he wants to push this deterministic timeline, and only the one timeline thing, the only reason he can push that is because that falls in line with him saying that, oh, it was inevitable to happen. So since it was inevitable to happen, that means Eren wanted it to happen. And since Eren wanted it to happen, that falls suit with him being inherently crazy. So that's why it happened. Bro, I'm not falling for the Genjutsu, dog. Take that. That's what I'm saying. Your whole argument is based off of a philosophy that is not even presented in the story. You see what I'm saying? You see how your argument falls apart? Your whole argument is based on a philosophy that is not even present in the story. You take that deterministic future and deterministic universe theory away from Attack on Titan, what do you got? Exactly. My arguments and the points that I make is based off the source material, dog. You have to grab other things to make it make sense. When you do that, your whole argument is no longer valid. Because you are now just saying, okay, well, let me add this to this. Okay, let me grab this and add this to this. No. Make your arguments and points based solely off the manga and what we read. Take the whole deterministic universe theory out. Because you don't know that it's a deterministic universe. What we can know is that we did see evidence of different timelines. We did see that. We saw evidence of that because we saw the evidence. We saw the timeline, as I said, with Mikasa in there. We saw the timeline with Mikasa, right? We saw that. And hell, in the anime, we saw when he was going two paths after he got shot by Gabby, we saw a picture of the goth Mikasa from the high school story. We did see that. How did he see that and he's not in that timeline? If there's only one timeline. See, this is what I'm saying. I'm basing my material off of the core subject, the root source material. You're trying to create an argument off of philosophies that you cannot emphatically prove that are in the story. Your whole argument is gone. Your deterministic universe theory, you take that away, it's gone. Your whole ground you were standing on crumbles. It's gone. That's what I'm saying, man. Folks just, they don't get that. They don't understand that. A lot of you indie defenders don't understand that. You guys have to, when you have an argument, guys, or you have a debate, your points need to be based off of whatever you're debating. That's it. Whatever is on the sheet, right? Whatever is in the book. Not other side books, other dictionaries and other meanings and other Google searches and all. No. You don't do that. You argue it based off of what you saw and what you read. I mean, because clearly everybody else read and saw that it seemed to be multiple timelines. Fucking guy, man.
Freedom. He would not be compelled by supernatural forces to activate the Ronin. Eren destroyed the world because he wanted to do so, as it was in his nature. But as I talked about earlier, I don't believe that Isayama is saying that the deterministic nature of the universe absolves Eren of his crimes. Just as we cannot absolve a murderer who kills on impulse, we cannot excuse the actions that Eren took. In this way, I believe that the universe of AOT operates on the theory of compatibilism, the belief that we are still responsible for the actions we take, even though we lack true free will. And now that we have a full understanding of Eren's meaning of freedom, his state of mind, and his future memories, we can finally talk about the conclusion of his character arc.
Chromebooks are a new way to laptop, starting with the everything button. So you files.
As Eren walked through the streets of Marley, he thought about how in the near future he...
I can already tell you where you're finna go with this. Y'all. You know what I'm finna do? I'm finna pull Eren Yeager, y'all. I'm finna predict the future. Watch this. What he's gonna do is what they all do. Is they all result, right? Based off of this is chapter 131. This is an amazing chapter. But based off of this, what he's going to go to is when he's crying in front of the boy, and he says that when he found that our humanity existed beyond the walls, he was disappointed. He's going to use that as saying that he was disappointed that humanity even existed at all. That's what he's going to do to try to push this narrative again. And that is not what Eren meant when he said he was disappointed. when he said he found out that humanity existed beyond the wall, when he says that he is disappointed, he is referencing he is disappointed in their actions, in what they are and what they do. He's now realized the cruelty of the world. You know what I mean? And how the cruelty of the world is, and how these people are, and how they're looking at him, and how they're like this dude, and how they're detest their kind. That's what he's saying he's disappointed about. Because he would have been happy again if these folks were happy. So I'm going to do your move. I'm going to pull your move. I'm going to pull your move, and I'm going to give you a hypothetical. So you mean to tell me, shout out to you, Saint and Chief, for this one. So you mean to tell me that if everybody on the planet realized that Paradise was there and was like, oh, we're sorry, we didn't, you know what? We didn't even know. We had no idea this was happening. Let's just say events were altered where Reiner and none of them were over there, right? And Reiner and them and none of them came over there and did none of that stuff, right? And they managed to somehow get across the sea. And when they got across the sea, everybody greeted them. Everybody started showing them shit. Everybody was like, hey, y'all, look, we are so sorry. We were sending Titans over there because of the fact that, you know, we just thought they were just going to go over there and be able to die off. We didn't really understand what the Titans were. So we just wanted to send them over there. We thought that the island was inhabitable. We had no idea people were over there. Take this as our apology. And they started showing them shit, giving them shit, just taking them in. And being like, y'all come on in, guys. Y'all can live over here. No internment zones, no nothing. No racism, no nothing. You mean to tell me that Eren would have killed everybody anyway? He would have just said, okay, you know, I appreciate the cinnamon buns, but you all are dead. It doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense. That's not his character. It sounds ridiculous. It sounds absolutely ridiculous. I mean, come on, man. Let's listen to this.
He would kill all of the people living there. He reasoned that if either Eldia or the world had to die, it made more sense for it to be Eldia going by numbers alone. But he was unwilling to make that sacrifice. He saw a child named Ramsey being attacked, and realized he'd seen him before through his dad's memories. His first instinct was to intervene and help, but he stopped. He knew that soon he would be the one to kill Ramsey. Saving him now would be pointless.
Yeah.
But once again, he couldn't fight his own nature. Eren wasn't the kind of person who could ignore a child being attacked. Afterwards, he was...
You see what I'm saying? Do you see the do you just see the hypocrisy of what he's saying? Did you just see the hypocrisy of what he just said? Guys, I listen very fucking well, and I pay attention very fucking well. Do you see the hypocrisy? So now you're saying he can't ignore his nature because of the simple fact he saw a child being beaten. So that's his nature, is to protect the child. But you just said it's in his nature to kill everybody. So what is it? What is it? Is he a killer or is he a savior? What is it? What is his nature? Since you are the expert in Eren's nature, what is his nature? You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Come on, man. Like, come on, dog. Come on. How are you going to say it's in his nature to save the kid, but in your next breath, you're saying it's in his nature to murder everybody? Silly, bro. Like, this is silly points, dog. Silly, ridiculous points, man.
Reminded of the contradiction of Reiner's behavior. How Reiner went out of his way to save his friends on the island, while knowing he would later kill them. Eren had now done the same thing. No, what he was going to do was even worse than what Reiner had ever done. He realized then that he was the ultimate hypocrite for judging Reiner. Knowing what he would do in the future, and overcome with the immense guilt towards his own desire, He started crying.
See how he's trying to put words and shit into play. You see what I'm saying? That's why I told you I listened very well. Talking about the immense guilt of his desire. He did not. This is not the face of somebody who desires to kill. You don't have a desire, dog. Like, do we understand what words are anymore? If I have a desire for something, that means I'm happy about it. Like, oh man, I got it. Oh man, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be fucking crying. Like, what the fuck? I'm desire. Oh, his desire. Boy, shut up, man. Like, shut that shit up. That is not even the case. Desire means that you have a desire for something. Like you. What's another alternative for desire? Like you long for it, right? Like I gotta have this, right? If that was his nature, as you said, he wouldn't even apologize to the kid. He wouldn't have done none of that. He would have kept it pushing. This chapter would be deleted. Based off of your theory, this chapter is no. Because this entire chapter, you can't flip this chapter, bro. You try to, as I say, you can try your little genjutsu shit. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work on a logical person who's thinking logically and using the source material as their point of contact. It's not gonna fucking work, bruv. It's not gonna goddamn work. I'm sorry. It's not gonna work. You talking about his overwhelming guilt of his desire. You're putting that in there. You're trying to emphasize the desire portion because you wanted to push the narrative again that he was just this great. If you had a desire for something, you wouldn't cry and be guilty of it like that. Guilt wouldn't even be a factor. Guilt like that wouldn't even be like a soul issue. If you had again, and I'm just going based off of what he said, if you had such a ravenous desire for this, you wouldn't feel guilty at all. Guilt is a byproduct of something that is to be done that you don't want to do. That is what guilt is. Guilt is the feeling of something that is being done or doing, that has been done, or something that it will be done that you don't want to do. That is what guilt is. That is what guilt is. Right? Or like I said, or after the fact. You will feel the same way, just like Reiner. Reiner felt guilty. Hence the guilty hero. He felt guilty because of what happened. Because he realized that these people were good, but it was out of what he wanted to do, which he wanted to be a hero. He wanted to be a hero, but then he started to learn, like, okay, this is a problem. But what he did was he put everything above that. He realized, you know what, I still want to go ahead and do it. I feel guilty later now. I feel very guilty about this. But I know this has to be done. There's no other way. Because again, him being lied to, them being brainwashed into thinking that everybody was doing it, he still did it though. Not because he just because he did it for all those different reasons. Eren is doing what he has to do because of the simple fact he realized this is what I have to do. Unfortunately, this is what I have to do. Let's continue.
Ramsey couldn't understand the Eldian language, so this was the one time Eren could be honest to someone about his true intentions without reprisal.
The island. It's to save Eldia. But it's more than that. What was really beyond the walls was nothing like the world I dreamed of. It wasn't like the world I saw in Armin's book. When I learned that humanity lived beyond the walls, I was so disappointed. I wished for it. I wanted to wipe it all away. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Eren reflected one more time on Armin's book as he slaughtered the children running away from the destruction.
Ever since I was born, there before my eyes stood those miserable walls. Flaming water, frozen earth, plains of sand.
Told you he was gonna use that.
I'm sure that the outside world is way bigger than the one inside the walls. Anyone who saw those things would be the freest person in the world.
By killing Ramsay, Eren finally reached the sight he had seen in his father's memories.
Excuse me.
The very manifestation of the freedom that he wanted. Ramsay was the physical embodiment of the innocent dream of freedom that Armin had. What Ramsay sought was pure freedom, and Eren had murdered him to achieve his own corrupted version of that same freedom. It was the ultimate sin for Eren, and the betrayal of the dream Armin had once shared with him.
That was such a sad thing, though.
This is
That was...
freedom. Finally. We're here at last. This is that sight. Right, Armin?
Having experienced his childhood dream, Eren brought Armin into pass to share his excitement. But of course, this had never been Armin's dream, and never what he wanted. Their dreams had diverged a long, long time ago. Together in paths, Eren and Armin finally explored the world they had heard so much about.
Oh my god. Again, as I said before, I knew he was gonna do that, and I knew that's what they were gonna do. That is not what he was referencing when he said that. He made reference to that again, guys. You have to understand the whole concept of being lied to your entire life. This man has been lied to ever since he was a boy, that they were all that was left of humanity. And when he found out that humanity existed beyond the wall, the only thing that he ever, and that's the thing y'all have to realize, that's the one thing that he can resort back to is Armin's book, which was a lie. But he could resort back to that because that's what he knew. He only knew that this was all. It was just us. So this is how the plains and the fields and all that stuff was going to look. Right? Imagine being told that since you're 10. No, not even 10. Earlier than that, when you can comprehend. Imagine being told that all this time, and you can comprehend. All this time, you're told that. And then find out that humanity existed. He was disappointed, and that results back also to the moment in the sea. Because he had the same facial expression. He looked disappointed. Because he was like, fuck. Finally, when we wiped out all our enemies, will we finally be safe? Will we finally be free? That was the disappointment he was referencing, dude. He was referencing the disappointment in the fact that, damn, you motherfuckers are the root cause of this. You guys are the ones of that. So it's better to wipe you guys away so that I can save Paradise. Because, again, as he said before, I reject that notion that everybody on the other side of the sea wants us dead. I reject that. I don't do that. And I'm not going to believe Paradise is up to fate. I'm not going to believe him up to chance. So I'm doing this. And I'm finna wipe out everybody past these walls. That was his reasonings. I don't know which more do you want. I don't know what more do you want. I have no idea what more do you want with that. That was his reason, as I just explained, very easily. Very, very easily. It had nothing to do with he was just being like, oh shit. That's why he turned into a kid right there. He turned into a kid and took him in the past because he was coping with what he was doing. He was coping with what he was doing. He was, and then if you think about it, it was not the sight. You couldn't see shit. That's why it was clouds. He was just in the sky, floating. You couldn't see the bodies. He was blocking out the bodies. That's why he was saying, oh, I'm the freest person in the world. I'm flying. I'm in the sky. He didn't see the bodies. There was too much steam. Come on, man. Dog, I don't know anymore. I don't know what more to say, dog. Anyway, guys, we're almost about done. I'm going to end it here on part 5. I think this is a pretty decent spot to stop it. We kind of touched on little things. I kind of let the story, if you notice in this one, I kind of let the video play through a little bit to kind of eat up a lot of other time and stuff that was needed. I kind of let that go through. We got about 20 minutes left of this video. So that's good. So this more than likely there will definitely be a part 6. And part 6 may be the conclusion, honestly, to this. Which I probably will make part 6 the conclusion as well to this saga or series that we got going. But guys, man, again, I just don't know anymore, man. I have no idea. Like, these folks are it's too much. It's just way too much going on. In a sense of everybody's just doing random shit. Like, it's too much in the sense of you're trying. That's why I said it's sad, because it's like you're trying so hard. You're trying so hard to make something good that didn't really make sense. I'm not saying Attack on Titan is the worst shit ever created. I'm not saying that. I just think that the ending could have been better, a lot better. I think the ending was very convoluted and confusing, and it just added a lot of different random plot points that didn't need to be added. You know, a lot of just plot devices that did not need to be added, in my opinion. You know, but it's okay to admit that was wrong. It was bad. It didn't need to be done. But, you know, that's just me just saying that. But it's not just me. That's a lot of people that are saying that. But this particular video, guys, I just feel like it's a lot of lies mixed in with some of the core material. You know what I'm saying? And I don't understand how anybody can't see what I just explained to them very thoroughly. I don't understand how anybody can't see that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get that. I don't understand that. So, yeah, I don't get it, y'all. I don't get it. But again, I'm gonna end it here. I appreciate all those who came in and all those who will come to view it. Let me know what you guys think. Y'all know the drill. You know, like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share. I want to get some conversations going. I had a conversation with a particular person that went pretty lengthy. We went back and forth. They were on one side of the fence. I was on the other side of the fence. And we just kept going back and forth and started having a nice little dialogue. And that was one of the things that I kind of like, and I want that camaraderie. I want to be able to go back and forth. If you just truly disagree with the points that I'm making, let me know. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not making clear, concise points, let me know. You know, and I will gladly respond. You know what I'm saying? Respectfully as well. I'm not going to call you out your name. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to respectfully have a dialogue with you, which I feel as though we accomplished. Again, guys, comment in here. Let me know what you guys think. Share the video if you know somebody who is on that fence of thinking like this particular person, like Invaders. Show them this. Show them the breakdown. Show them everything, because we got to stop this. We got to live in a more logic-based society, and we got to stop using crutches of outside material to try to support source material, Because if you're doing that or having to do that, then it means that the source material did a terrible job in trying to convey its message. Just as simple as that. It's as simple as that. You know what I mean? And by you using that outside source material, which actually it was no proof at all that is what Attack on Titan's universe was based on. Once that source material gets wiped out from the debate, you have no legs to stand on. So that's my thing, man. Y'all have to operate within the confines of the story. You have to. You have to operate within the confines of the story. Confines of the story just didn't make sense towards the end. It's just simple and plain. But yeah, I've done enough rambling. I've done enough talking. Guys, this has been another lengthy one, but this has also been another good one. So again, I'm out. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one, part 6. I'm out.